Hey everybody, Douglas Blair Roberts here, the Super Vader 400, Mr. the Fanboy, and of course the Brown Skin Human. Come back at you with another video. And this time, this is my thoughts and salute on pro wrestling in 2020, the first 4 months. This is also my rant on the coronavirus's effects on pro wrestling, which is ruining and killing pro wrestling, and the coronavirus is ruining and killing everything. So with that being said, let me get started right now. I wish I could go faster. I wish this coronavirus would go by faster, and we can do whatever we want. We can achieve whatever we want if we put our minds to it. Yeah, one of the last times I talked about pro wrestling, I did reviews on Impact Wrestling's following episodes after Hard to Kill, which I thought was a disappointing way to start off 2020, that pay-per-view. But the following episodes of Impact were for the most part good, and I said, did Impact Wrestling do enough? And to answer that question, Impact Wrestling and pro wrestling as a whole did enough to bring me back. Did enough to bring me back, and everything from January, February, all the way up until March. Everything was for the most part perfect. Impact Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, NWA Power, New Japan. You know, I haven't watched much New Japan since Wrestle Kingdom, and New Japan, and even garbage as WWE were all getting better and were all doing awesome things, but the coronavirus ruined everything. Let's start off with Impact Wrestling. You had the very awesome Ace Austin versus Tessa Blanchard feud, which I enjoyed this intergender feud more than I enjoyed the revolutionary Sami Callihan and Tessa Blanchard, which dominated the latter half of 2019 and the first part of 2020. But this storyline, heavyweight champion Tessa Blanchard versus X Division champion Ace Austin, also feuding with Taya Valkyrie. and Talia Valkyrie would later lose the title to Jordan Vance. Um um what else? What else about this pay per view? Don't mind the noise in the backyard. That's my second dog whining because nobody's here and he's not allowed to play in here. Um where else was it? Oh yeah. So yeah. Then you had my second favorite feud, which actually ended way too quickly, which in my opinion ended way too quickly and was dropped for a newer storyline. You had Joey Ryan, wrestling and feuding with Johnny Swinger and various other wrestlers for various months with the Touch His Penis storyline. Then he began his second real feud against Rob Van Dam, which this is something I wanted to see. This is something I wanted to see for months and months, but it was only a couple of weeks before Joey Ryan would turn heel and form a partnership with RVD and would form a PC culture like character, which I understand but do not enjoy. I like the previous gimmick he had much better, but I understand it, especially from a storyline and booking sense. RVD and Joey Ryan are both 40 and 50 years old. More 40 and 50 years old. They do not need to be in the main events stuff, even though I for one do not have a problem with it. I for one do not have a problem with this. So in this heel storyline, they can feud with the younger stars of Impact Wrestling while also putting them over. So yeah. Um what else? Um quiet. Sorry. What else? Yeah. So all that was good. Then you had T.J. Perkins, Daga, this new wrestler whose name escapes me at the moment, and the Rascals, Trey, Zach, and Desmond were tearing it up in the X division and tag team based division. You also had Johnny Swinger and his awesome storyline where he kept trying to team with Willie Mack, who Willie Mack's partner Swan is injured with he kept trying to team with what's his name until finally several weeks later Mack had enough of it and said had enough of it, and Swinger briefly reformed his tag team with Glenn Gilberti, Disco Inferno before they lost, and they got into an argument. Disco Inferno quit the team, thus leaving Swinger without a partner, and Willie Mack would then challenge Ace Austin for the X Division Championship. With Ace Austin after his feud with Tessa Blanchard would tease a face turn before going back to feud with Willie Mack. So yeah, you also had the Eddie Edwards, Michael Elgin best of five series for the trophy, which ended in a no contest, and Tessa Blanchard demanded that Rebellion she face both of them. Also hyping up one of the main things I was looking forward to. You had the Impact Wrestling old school storyline where Impact Wrestling was going to have an event dedicated to all the past stars of Impact Wrestling, past like Chris Sabin, Petey Williams, Chase Stevens, and many more, They had their first show yesterday, the hour-long TNA Impact Wrestling, old school Impact Wrestling. Then this Friday they're gonna have their TNA Goes Old School show. And during this storyline, Moose was not excited about Impact Wrestling promoting the past over what is your present and future, which is Moose. So Moose took it upon himself to interrupt interview time and to challenge the old school wrestlers to various matches. And so far, he's defeated Chase Stevens and Kid Cash, and has got into fights with Sabin. He's interrupted promos of Sabin and Chase Stevens and many more. So I really can't wait for that. only problems I have with Impact Wrestling is that one X Division wrestler I enjoy. I haven't seen him since 2019. He hasn't been on any shows, and that is the wrestler of Aiden Prince. He hasn't been on any Impact Wrestling shows since. But Impact Wrestling is despite the depleted roster, Impact Wrestling still puts on great shows, and it still proves themselves as the better product out there. It's like an old school WCW and old school WCW and ECW from the early 90s and 98 through 2001. So yeah, Impact Wrestling still has a pretty good roster, but you go look at their roster from 2017, 18, and even the most recent 19. And I'm also happy to hear that Brian Cage, he's just taking time off to heal from injuries, but I'm predicting that when he returns, he will probably go to AEW, All Elite Wrestling. I want him to stay with Impact Wrestling, but I'm pretty sure he'll go to AEW or WWE somewhere. So let me get to the next wrestling. So let me get to the next wrestling company. All Elite Wrestling. This promotion has been awesome. When it comes to earlier this year, I criticized them for focusing more on that Dark Order. I think that's what their stable is called. That Dark Order storyline, over the Inner Circle, but they haven't gotten away from the Dark Order storyline, but they've slowly de-emphasized it, and got the focus back on the Inner Circle. They moved the Dark Order storyline to the mid card with Daniels and Bad Influence and those characters. And back in the main storyline was the Inner Circle and Jon Moxley feuding with the Inner Circle. And later, at the most recent All Elite Wrestling pay-per-view, I keep forgetting what it's called, the most recent All Elite Wrestling pay-per-view, upsetting Jericho to become the AEW Heavyweight Champion. Then you had their very awesome Bash at the Beach taping. Then also two new signees. TNA's Braxton Stutter and the Beer City Bruiser from Ring of Honor. Are in All Elite Wrestling as the Blade, and I keep forgetting what the Beer City Bruiser's name are, but they're in All Elite Wrestling now. Braxton Sutter and the Bruiser are in All Elite Wrestling now. Then All Elite Wrestling, the storylines for me are important, but it's really the roster and cast of characters that keeps me coming back to All Elite Wrestling. You got my boy Sammy Guevara, you got Pac, you got Orange Cassidy, who I'm really starting to dig, one of the most over guys in the company. You got Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, who despite his size is instantly becoming the biggest star in that company. Darby Allin, and Heligo, Frankie Kazarian and Daniels and Scorpio Sky as singles competitors. Who else? Adam Page, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Cody Rhodes, Jericho, Dreamer, Billy Gunn whenever he is there, and Goldust, and so many more. So yeah, then the Broken Matt Hardy just debuted in All Elite Wrestling, and so did Luke Harper. Now here's the problem I have with All Elite Wrestling. Everything was good. Storylines, Cody Rhodes and MJF, I forgot that storyline too. That's been good. All the storylines have been good. However, the coronavirus, them having these empty arena shows, all these awesome shows and moments, and no crowd there to see them, having empty arena based shows, man. Like I said, I really wish this coronavirus thing would pass, man. So it's not only affecting wrestling, it's affecting everything. Several stores around me closed early at 8 o'clock now because of this stupid this stupid virus. So yeah. Then you have NWA Power. NWA Power, which NWA Power don't pay much attention to the storylines and the feuds, but I love the roster. You got my number one guy. You got Magnus, Tim Storm, James Storm, Ken Anderson, Colt Cabana, Bram, his tag team partner, whose name I keep forgetting, but he's even better. He's even more awesome than Bram. Um, Caleb Conley, Billy Buck, Sal Rinauro, Georgia. Those are three Georgia independent-based wrestlers. Um, 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 Aaron Rex, who I didn't think would return to pro wrestling for a long time. I thought he was focusing full time on Hollywood. Aaron Rex, Damien Sandow to WWE fans. Who else? Oh yeah, the Rocky Roll Express. Those guys still active. The Rocky Roll Express. Scott Steiner was on several episodes, and so many more. So yeah, NWA Power, NWA Power. And one thing like I said, one thing I like about NWA Power, they're old school. They're old school. In contrast to the middle, light, and cruiserweight indie wrestler, which is that look is in now. That's the style, and that look is in now. This is a throwback to the '80s with larger than life, big, larger than life, manly men, manly type wrestlers. In contrast to the other type of wrestler I've seen, to the other type of wrestler you see in the various other promotions. And when they say, and one thing I said it once, I said it again. When they say NWA Power, when they say NWA Power, NWA Power, I thought they were just gonna get a normal small arena, get a blue or white ring with flag ropes or black ropes, hang the flags in there, hang the flags in the NWA banners, and call it NWA. No, they did all that. They had that cool Into the Fire '80s song, Into the Fire '80s song. They had the same look as the Jim Crockett promotions, and even the same show format and interviewing segment. And speaking of the format, they recently dropped the Power format in favor of a brand new format with a bunch of promos and usually one match. I do not like that format, but I guess that's what they're doing until this coronavirus thing falls over. And yes, the coronavirus thing is affecting that promotion too. Lots of events, Impact Wrestling events, NWA Power events, the New Japan Cup, and what's his name have all been canceled. Because of this coronavirus. Well, this is all. Oh yeah, last but not least, WWE. WWE still sucks, but I like their roster, man. You got Edge, you got Goldberg, you got Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, TNA's Drew McIntyre. Yeah, Drew McIntyre was in WWE first, but I consider him TNA because he sucked in WWE, and he was so much more awesome than TNA. And now, one of the many things I like, he won the Royal Rumble and eliminated Brock Lesnar. Royal Rumble I hated, but it had its moments. Mainly the Daniel Bryan and Fiend match, and of course the Royal Rumble itself, which the first half I did not like. They used the first half of the Royal Rumble, they jobbed out everyone to put over Brock Lesnar, which is why I was so happy when Drew McIntyre eliminated Brock Lesnar, and Drew McIntyre goes to WrestleMania to win the challenge, the Universal Champion. Seth Rollins, at first I hated Seth Rollins' heel turn. I like Seth Rollins as a babyface and loved his feud with Brock Lesnar. Loved his underdog feud with Brock Lesnar, but this heel thing is real good. Like his new stable. I don't like the Authorities of Pain, but they're great as bodyguard type wrestlers. And I love the new guy, Buddy Lee. Buddy Murphy, not Buddy Lee. Buddy Murphy. The new guy, Buddy Murphy, and how they were able to defeat those Street Profits to attain the tag team titles. John Morrison, believe it or not, John Morrison returning to WWE was the best thing for them. Best thing for them. After seeing how badass Johnny Impact was in Impact Wrestling, the indie circuit in Mexico, and Major League Wrestling, I did not want to see him. I did not want to see him in WWE in a lame with the lame PG John Morrison character, the PG John Morrison character in a tag team with the Miz. But believe it or not, that's one of the best things. That's one of the best things WWE got going. Pretty much any past wrestler coming back is the best thing WWE's got going for them. Love this. Love how MVP's come back. Shelton Benjamin is appearing more on television now. Television now, and Goldberg squashed the Fiend. I hate the fact it was a squash match, but you know, even though the Fiend is Bray Wyatt's best character, I do not like Bray Wyatt, and I'm a huge Goldberg fan and biased WCW fan. So you know, I like Goldberg. I like Goldberg defeat, becoming the Universal Champion. Hopefully, this match against him and Roman Reigns will actually be a good wrestling match. But yeah, sick of Goldberg wrestling these squash matches though. Next is the Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins feud. That's pretty good too. The Miz and the Miz and Bray Wyatt Fiend feud, that was good, which led to Miz's heel turn. That was a good feud. Two totally different wrestlers in not only style but character, and you put both of them together and they produce magic in the ring. That was awesome. Which I got to review that feud and match sometime in the future. And Daniel Bryan's feud with the Fiend. Well, of course, whenever people like Daniel Bryan, Jericho wrestle the Fiend, they can always get a good fight and a good match out of the Fiend, a good fight, feud, and match out of the Fiend, the storylines. And I like Hector Garza feuding with his cousin, whose name I can't remember at the moment. But their cruiserweight feud has been awesome. Then you got Zema Ion on NXT. You don't watch much NXT, but you got Zema Ion on NXT, and that's WWE. While not great, while they still suck, there's several good things. Mainly when the past stars are there. That is some of the best things ever. Past stars, and when I say past stars, I mean guys from the 80s, 90s, and now the 2000s with people like MVP and Shelton Benjamin there. That's my thoughts on pro wrestling in 2020 and the coronavirus. And I'm not finished. Then WWE, just when they were getting good, instead of canceling and postponing WrestleMania, no, they do something even more stupid. They have WrestleMania, the Super Bowl of wrestling, the grandest stage of them all, the biggest show of the year, and they're gonna have it at the Performance Center in Orlando. Screw you. Just when they were getting good, they got a good card this year. Everything looked good, but instead of canceling and postponing this awesome show, no, they're gonna put it in a Performance Center. Every time WWE takes a step forward, they take a step backwards. This is why I don't give them a chance anymore. Every time I give them a chance and they improve, they always drop the ball down the road. Well, like I said, this has been my thoughts on pro wrestling in 2020, and my rant on what the coronavirus has on pro wrestling. I hope everything gets better in the future. All right, I'm finished for now. If you don't hear the rest of the video, hear the rest of the music, turn the video off right now.
Side.